Imagine a plague so devastating that it wipes out most of a civilization. This is not science fiction, it happened in the Americas. In the 16th century, a terrifying plague swept through the Aztec Empire. This plague, known as Cocoliztli, killed millions of people. It was a major factor in the fall of the Aztec Empire. Cocoliztli is a Nahuatl word meaning pest or pestilence. This name reveals the terror it inspired. The plague was unlike anything the Aztecs had ever seen. Its symptoms were horrific, its spread was relentless, its impact was catastrophic. This forgotten plague changed the course of history. It is a story of disease, conquest, and the fragility of civilizations. It is a story that deserves to be remembered. Before the arrival of the Spanish, the Aztec Empire was at its peak. It was a sophisticated civilization centered in present-day Mexico. The Aztecs had a complex social structure, advanced agriculture, and impressive cities. Their capital, Tenochtitlan, was a marvel of engineering and urban planning. The Aztecs were skilled warriors and traders. They controlled a vast empire through a combination of diplomacy and military might. Their wealth and power were evident in their grand temples, elaborate ceremonies, and beautiful art. However, their world was about to be turned upside down. In 1519, a small group of Spanish conquistadors led by Hernán Cortés landed on the coast of Mexico. They were searching for gold and glory. They found both, but not in the way they expected. The Spanish arrival marked a turning point in Aztec history. It also marked the arrival of a hidden enemy disease. The Spanish were amazed by the Aztec Empire. They had never seen anything like it. But the Aztecs were also vulnerable. They had no immunity to the diseases that the Spanish carried with them. Europeans had been exposed to diseases like smallpox, measles, and influenza for centuries. Over time, they had developed some immunity. However, these diseases were new to the Americas. The indigenous populations had no defense against them. These diseases spread like wildfire through the Aztec Empire. They killed millions of people. Entire villages were wiped out. The Aztecs had no way to treat these new and deadly diseases. Their immune systems were helpless against them. Section 5, Cocoliztli, a plague unlike any other. But the worst was yet to come. In 1545, a new and even more terrifying plague struck the Aztec Empire. This plague was Cocoliztli. It was different from the European diseases. It was a hemorrhagic fever. This meant it caused massive internal bleeding. The symptoms of Cocoliztli were terrifying. Victims experienced high fevers, severe headaches, and nosebleeds. Their skin turned yellow, their eyes bled. Death often came within days. For centuries, the cause of Cocoliztli remained a mystery. Some scientists believed it was a form of viral hemorrhagic fever, similar to Ebola. Others suspected typhus or malaria. However, none of these explanations fully accounted for the unique symptoms and severity of Cocoliztli. The lack of a clear explanation only added to the mystery surrounding Cocoliztli. It became a ghost story from the past, a reminder of the devastating power of disease. But in recent years, scientists have made a breakthrough. Recent studies have pointed to a new and surprising culprit, Salmonella. Scientists analyzing the skeletons of Cocoliztli victims found traces of DNA from a specific type of Salmonella bacteria. This bacterium, Salmonella enterica paratyphi C, is known to cause enteric fever, a serious illness that can lead to internal bleeding. This discovery was a major breakthrough. It suggested that Cocoliztli was not a viral hemorrhagic fever, but a bacterial infection. This new understanding of the disease could help us prevent similar outbreaks in the future. Cocoliztli had a devastating impact on the Aztec Empire. It killed an estimated 5 to 15 million people. This represented up to 80% of the indigenous population. The plague weakened the Aztec Empire. It made it impossible for them to resist the Spanish conquest. The Aztecs were already weakened by smallpox and other diseases. Cocoliztli was the final blow. It shattered their society, decimated their population, and paved the way for Spanish domination. The story of Cocoliztli is a tragic reminder of the power of disease. It is also a reminder of the interconnectedness of our world. The arrival of Europeans in the Americas had unintended and catastrophic consequences. Diseases brought from the Old World decimated the indigenous populations. Cocoliztli played a pivotal role in the fall of the Aztec Empire. It is impossible to say what would have happened if this plague had not occurred. Would the Aztecs have been able to resist the Spanish conquest? Would the history of the Americas have unfolded differently? These are questions we can only ponder, but one thing is certain. Cocoliztli is a stark reminder of the power of disease to shape the course of history.